tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers! Hi, guys! Welcome to another Undateable After Show. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. If you guys haven't done so already, please go on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, rate, review, subscribe. We really always love hearing your feedback, YouTube comments, tweets. I only have one lovely lady here with me tonight, but she is amazing. Miss Fiona, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, guys. I'm Fiona Zaring. You can find me on all social media at Fiona Zaring.
And guys, I'm Sam Davidson, and of course, this is Undateable After Show, Season 3, Episode 6, titled, A Puppet Walks into a Bar. I'm still kind of on a high from being there 2 weeks ago. I don't know about you.
This week.
I know, me too. I honestly, wish we could go back every week. It was far too fun, but especially when we went was so cool because it was Halloween and had a great spirit in the air. But this week, do you find it interesting watching it and, being able to think well, this is how it was different, the first one, the second one?
Yes, I watched it live this week, which I don't normally do because I normally have cheer practice. So I was pretty excited to watch it live. And since we had been there the week before, I felt like I was picking up on so many little things, and I kept picturing what was going on, right where we were sitting or right whatever. But then I went online and I watched the East Coast feed, and I was like, oh, that's different. That was different. Oh, that's so exciting. And I think from now on, I want to definitely make sure I watch both because it's fun to know what they're changing.
Well, and what I think would be so smart and fun to do for them would kind of be hey, watch both, see what's different. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
When you get those things in magazines and you have to circle the things that are different in each picture. I enjoy doing that. I did something super weird I was telling Fiona about earlier. I was having a lovely afternoon and I had some time on my hands and I was like, you know what? After I watched the first episode, I watched East Coast, I think, and I liked it a lot, and I tried to team up my laptop and Hulu on my Apple TV on my television at the same time.
Right.
And I watched both to see what the differences were.
That's true dedication.
It is.
That's what I feel everyone that says they're a dedicated fan should be. We should be doing that.
And I
every
felt,
week for sure.
I even felt like a bad person because I was missing things. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much. But let's start with the beginning of the episode that was pretty parallel in both.
Yes.
Justin comes in with a sweater. There's a sweater joke.
A beautiful sweater.
Yeah, a beautiful sweater joke, which was very funny. And, we just talked about, Justin's just a little silly. And
Justin's
just
quirky character.
So straight-edged, but like a goofball. We love him. And, then we find out that Leslie's boyfriend, Mike, is planning to propose to her.
In a pretty epic way. He's planning a pretty big proposal.
He wants to do so with puppets because that is somehow how their first date ended up happening.
It was something about they thought they were going to see a play and they somehow ended up at a puppet show, and so he thought it would be super romantic to propose via puppet.
Yeah. And I think we've met this character, Mike guy, a couple times. To me, I was like, whoa, that's what he looks like. Have we just talked about him? Not that he was ugly, but I just wasn't expecting him to look like that.
Well, when they first introduced him, he wasn't so clean cut, I feel like. He wasn't he was almost like a bad boy.
Oh, wait, he has really cleaned it up fast.
And they cleaned him up quick.
Whoa. Yeah. My mind is blown right now because I'm trying, and I know exactly what you're talking about right now.
That first time we meet him, and I don't remember exactly what he was wearing.
Something with Danny, and he somehow introduced him to Leslie because there was some competition or bet of some sort.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you guys know what that is, let us know because those episodes are always fun to look back to.
Totally. Totally.
I love rewatching stuff, especially when you get deep into a show and they're like, let's bring back old jokes and older characters. And I mean, that character is still around. We've mentioned him for a long time.
Yeah, we've been sort of like talking about him so the audience knew he was still there. Leslie was still in a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of audiences knowing someone was still there, I forgot that Bursky had a girlfriend. I thought that ended. I thought the whole, like, she told her he was blind and all that, and then she leave. Were we supposed to assume?
Well, then at the end, I think, of that episode, they Leslie put them back together.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, we've never gotten really a follow-up about it. But so in both of those episodes, Bursky, Rick Glassman, did 2 temper tantrums, like, kind of, well, in each episode, you know, like these outbursts in the alley outside.
Yeah, he excuses himself to go collect himself over
very
the fact
politely.
that she'll be proposed.
Absolutely. And so when he finds out the first time that, you know, everyone's getting together to help Mike propose to Leslie, he goes and excuses himself, and he says things in each episode that are, it's like, oh, when he said something like, I love you, Leslie. And then the next one, he's like, Leslie, no. It was just like weird but different. And he went on these odd, different rants. And it was hilarious.
And then, well, obviously, the episode goes on, but he does sort of like a joyful rant. He excuses himself at the end of the episode with excitement because he can't control that either. He loves her so much.
It's amazing. It's cool. I mean, to think that they have 2 separate episodes, but they're the same, but
they're different.
But they're different. And you know, as we know from being there, people drink a little bit. And no, honestly, like, I saw 2 or 3 of the guys back there getting drinks, and
it's a very casual atmosphere. It's a lot of like, I think it's a lot of like, well, that was fun, but then right after they do it, they're like, but this could be more fun. And then they just go for it because why not? Like, there's nothing stopping them. Like, they did the one joke, it worked. But I feel like typically they change things not necessarily just because it didn't work, but because, like, it's fun. They want to switch it up. They want it to be more exciting for them because it would probably be not boring. You're still going on live TV, but it's more fun to do something slightly different and feel like you killed that than just repeat what you did 2 hours ago.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's such an interesting vibe, and to do that twice. You know, they try to keep some things the same, and some things...
because the story arc has to stay the same. They can't change anything major, but they can change the little bits.
Exactly. Well, okay, so there's one difference that we noticed, actually, we were talking about when Danny was talking about Joey Football.
I loved the Joey Football joke. I thought that was awesome.
Yes, who, you know, was someone that Leslie used to date, and he ruined the relationship.
And that's why he didn't want to get involved with this proposal. That was his initial, I'm not getting involved with this. Leslie hates when I get involved with her relationships, because the last time, what does he do? He sends him to the hospital? Yeah,
and each time it sounds a little bit different. Sent him to the hospital, a prank went wrong.
Yeah, but something along those lines.
And he's like, and we now call him Joey, and I think the first East Coast one was Joey Taco Bell. Second one was Joey Olive Garden. And I was, because at first I wasn't sure which one I was watching again, and I was confused. And then when I heard him say Olive Garden, I was like, oh yeah, I got it. I'm in the right one, because I didn't hear him say that the first time. So basically, you know, Leslie tells her brother Danny in a nonchalant way that she doesn't want to marry Mike. Like, he's not the one. Just saying it, you know.
She thinks they're on the same page. That's my favorite part of the whole thing. One of them they're in the same relationship, and one of them is ready to get married, and she thinks they're just having fun. It's completely casual.
Yeah, and then, you know, Danny does what he thinks is being a good brother, and he, you know, gets Leslie out of there before the puppets propose.
Before the puppets pop up.
Yeah, before the puppets pop up. And then, you know, later we end up finding out, when Leslie finds out what happened, that she wished that she had that experience of, like, turning someone down for a proposal.
Right.
Which wasn't exactly what she meant.
I think for her, it was almost like, not dumbing it down, but sort of. Like, she was putting it in words that Danny would understand. Nobody wants to turn down a proposal. That's got to be, like, I can't imagine doing that. It's got to be, like, the worst feeling in the world. Like, you're shattering someone's heart. But at the same time, if someone's going to do it, you don't want someone to sneak in and tell your boyfriend, "Ooh, just kidding, don't propose to her." Like, you want to be the one that has that conversation with him. You want to get to break that news, or, you know, try to let him down easy, or maybe talk about how now's not the right time. Maybe, like, we need more time. Maybe we take a break. But you want to be the one. It's not necessarily about, like, well, I wanted to say no. It's more like you wanted to control the situation, control the dialogue there.
Control the situation. And that's what Leslie wanted. However, that doesn't end up happening.
Not even in, like, the slightest.
And Justin even gets a little stupid, you know? He gets like, come on.
I thought that was interesting because Justin is normally, I mean, he's always an extreme, but Justin is normally the one that's, like, super into relationships.
In touch with his emotions, right?
Like, he always seems to know, like, exactly what the girls would put on, like, a Tumblr post, you know? Like, he uses all those quotes and that stuff, and you would think that he would be, if he's that in touch with girls and the way they think, that he almost takes it too far. You would think that he would be like, major red flag, like, do not go there, Danny. But for some reason,
yeah, he
doesn't get it.
I know. I mean, Danny, I think, has an effect over him, and I love seeing them together.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that that's more of what's happening. It's always a bromance between those two, but I think this episode with the puppets,
yeah,
they just took it to a whole new level.
I liked that this episode, a lot of times it's them bickering. I loved the scene when they try to fix it because, you know, they mess everything up and then they try to fix it and then that just messes it up even more. But at least, you know, Leslie's able to, like, appreciate the attempt. But they're, like, sitting there together and they go back and forth and they're, like, keep jinxing each other and saying the same thing. And it was super cute to see them, like, being their, like, little bromance. But instead of bickering, just, like, being on the same page and being, like, so into each other and so stoked on, like, what they were doing.
It's like little boys that have a plan, you know, and they're just kids and they're playing it out. I loved that. So what we end up finding out, you know, is that Leslie has this guy come in, Mike, and she has to basically stop his proposal again. Yes. Like, for real this time.
This time she's got to do it.
On his actual knee. And Candace is kind of, in both episodes, this is my favorite change, was Candace. In the first one, while Leslie is breaking the news to Mike that they're not gonna, like, do this, Candace comes out and just says, hi, is this over yet? This is really awkward. And then just runs back in.
Right.
So what happened in between that episode and the next one that they're like, Candace, go out there and go crazy?
I feel like maybe they thought, because when I watched both, I thought her going crazy made it so much funnier.
Hilarious.
I think they almost were worried that that moment was, like, a little sad and that they needed to make it, like, a bigger laugh because it's kind of sad. I mean, there's not much sad stuff that goes down on this show. It's typically very light and very silly, and so I thought that that was kind of one of the very, like, serious moments of the show.
Also, did you notice that in the West Coast episode, Candace was supposed to come in earlier? It was in the beginning of the episode, and she was supposed to have Leslie's back.
Yes.
It was someone in the middle, it was towards the end, and then in the second, I'm so sorry, okay. It's all a big blur because they're all so similar, but it was towards the end, but in the second episode, the West Coast one, Leslie goes, Candace, and you see her running out, and you can hear her before you see her.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. When you hear her voice, and then she just kind of appears. Mm-hmm. That's funny.
And then when I was rewatching them at the same time, she was late.
Yeah.
Like, she was already in the scene in the first episode.
I don't think I made that connection. I thought that maybe you were just hearing her before you saw her.
No.
Which is cool, because you can't necessarily tell at home when they're messing up. They just really play it off so smoothly every time.
Absolutely. It was very interesting, and I think everyone does a really great job.
The cast is just awesome.
Yeah.
That's, like, one thing that I definitely would take away from just when we got to be there. I could tell the cast was anyone that can go on live TV and do this is, like, awesome regardless. But when we were there and we got to sort of see them in action and see how calm they were, like, going in and out of, like, being on live television and switching up the jokes the way they do and having that just, like, spur of the moment feeling, you have to be, like, a really special person to do that. Because, like, I would be a basket case. I get anxiety standing up in front of my classroom to talk. You know what I mean?
Oh, you shut your mouth.
But to stand up in front of, like, theoretically millions of people and just, like, go for it.
Hey, you don't know, millions of people could be watching now.
True. There could just be millions.
Guys, let's make millions of people watch this to make Fiona get over her fear.
It's not necessarily a fear, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I fear public speaking, but it's that, like, nervous, like, that just nervous. And then you get out there and you're okay. But for them, it was just like, just casual, on and off of live TV. Very relaxed.
They do have a big influence, which is amazing. And we were talking earlier about Ron Funches. In both episodes, they plug The Wiz.
I loved this.
Yes. So the new live TV version of The Wiz.
Right.
They're casting it, and they need someone, what are they used to, is like African-American and has experience on live television.
Yeah, and for the Cowardly Lion role.
Oh, God, he would be great.
He would be awesome. I hope this, like, plays out, and they really grab him and have him do it, because it would be so great. But I kind of thought, normally, I feel like oftentimes people don't love plugs. Like, people get like, oh, they're plugging something, or, oh, this is product placement. I feel like people get, like, an eye roll for that. But they did it so well that I was like, oh, my God, NBC's doing The Wiz. That's great. Like, I, thought it was funny. It worked. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I honestly think that, if anything, that will help Ron Funches be that part in The Wiz, the lion. That would be amazing, because now we're like, oh, my gosh, that's perfect.
I loved what his character did in this episode about the trust fall scene. When each time he, like, is, joking, making fun of it, but I think it was the West Coast feed that he actually posted the video. He, like, whips his phone out and he says, like, this is for Instagram, and I was watching live, and I, like, went on my Instagram and I refreshed, and, like, 8 seconds later, there it was, the video from, like, his perspective, so you got to see, on TV, it obviously looks like he just falls on the floor and, like, hurts himself, but really there's, like, a little mattress there, and he's, like, all bundled up on the mattress, and it was super funny, because fans that aren't following him on Instagram might have just thought that was a joke, but no, he, like, really posted it. He really did it. I thought it was super cool.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. And follow all of them again on Instagram.
You have to.
Twitter, Periscope. It's so much fun to follow these people's lives.
They get so excited about Periscope. I was, like, not necessarily as with it. I, like, discovered Periscope because when I was, like, researching the show, I was like, oh, they all use this Periscope thing. So that's how I found it. And then when we were there, everyone, like, genuinely is so excited to be on the Periscope. Like, someone will whip their phone out and be like, it's Periscope time, and, like, everyone appears, and they all have something to say, and they, like, really, really genuinely want to connect with people on Periscope. I would, like, say if you're a true fan, you've, like, got to figure out the Periscope thing, because, like, that's where you'll see the coolest stuff, for sure.
Yeah, lots of shows have, I found this in the past year that Periscope has come out. There are certain shows that I watch that are, like, go on Periscope, and I've been able to talk with, like, creators of shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, any of us. Everyone can do it. Like, it just depends on the show. So this one, for sure, you should follow their Periscope account.
100%. It's, like, totally worth it.
So let's see. The episode ends, with Leslie breaking up with Mike.
Yes.
And Bursky, as we said, gets very excited again. Does an amazing, hip holler hoo outside. That's like, where did that come from? Hip holler hoo.
I don't know. I wasn't sure if I was missing it or if it was.
Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of hip holler hoo.
I've heard, like, hip hip hooray.
Hip holler hoo. Guys,
it's a new one.
Hashtag
it. Send it to Sam on Twitter. Hip holler hoo.
Please do. And let's see, are we missing anything else?
I don't know. I think the biggest part of the episode would definitely have to be the proposal, but then almost even bigger than that is the breakup, because it sort of reopens up the possibility of Leslie and Bursky getting together, finally.
I think, honestly, they're reading fans' reaction and realize everyone loves this couple, or, like, wants to see them together.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it's fun to see them not together. It's fun to see them, like, hoping to be together. Like, that's entertaining, but at some point, people are going to want them to, like, genuinely fall in love with not, like, a Mike character, like a real boyfriend character that's going to become, like, a part of the show, or just they need to end up together, because people are going to get bored eventually of, like, the tension. It can only build for so long until something's got to happen.
Something's got to give. Something's got to give. I mean, we'll see what happens with Bursky and his girlfriend, Carly.
Yeah. Right? I want them to either bring Carly or have him dump Carly. Sorry, Carly. Have him just dump Carly now that Carly. Leslie's single again.
Come on the show next week, Carly.
We'd love to talk to you.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. No, I agree, and I'm ready though for Danny. For Danny to have another lady. But I do love what's going on with Candace and Justin.
Yeah, I was gonna say I I don't even necessarily know what it would look like for Danny to have a lady, like a serious lady. I don't know if anyone's I don't know if I'm ready to see Danny with like a serious lady.
I don't know.
I think I'm sort of focusing on Candace and Justin because I can understand Candace and Justin. Ooh. I think that Danny in a relationship would be very complicated because I feel like he would take that relationship and just be so bizarre in it, you know?
Yeah.
It would be a huge turn.
A lot of
maybe
mix,
next season.
A lot of mixed sigs, you know?
Yeah. Definitely some mixed sigs.
All right, guys. Well, I think that wraps it up as far as story is concerned this week. But let's talk about some news and gossip.
Totally.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
We don't have much. There's not that much news and gossip.
There isn't. The little bit that we know is that Rick Glassman, who will hopefully be on the show sometime this season, is, of course, dating Tori DeVito, who is on Chicago MD.
Who I love.
Yes, I love her, too.
I
have been watching that girl since she was Nanny Carey on One Tree Hill. I freaking loved her. She's so much fun, and I think it's really adorable they're dating.
See, I loved her on Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, I
she was
loved
amazing
her.
on Pretty Little Liars. I always was super stoked when they would bring her character on, and they would we didn't see her for a while, and then they'd bring her back, and I'd be like, oh my god, she's back. I love her. She's so cool. She didn't even play a nice character. I don't know why I liked her so much.
Oh, I loved her character.
But I loved her character on that show. I think she's super, super talented, and I'm excited that they're a couple. I think they're a very cool couple.
Yeah, they're a very cool couple. They're very sweet, and also next week we'll be having 3 of the female writers of Undateable on the show, so you can hear the female perspective, the lady perspective in the writer's room, which I think is important because it's a male-dominated show, but there are, a lot of really strong women behind it.
Yeah, and we got to meet 2. I only met 2, but we got to meet a few of them when we were there, just very briefly, and they were super, super cool. I'm really excited to get to talk to them. I think it'll be really, really interesting to hear what they have to say because they were hilarious.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and hopefully we'll have some more guests on.
Yeah.
I think we will, but that about sums it up this week's news and gossip. Let's go into predictions.
I love the sound effects.
Now, your
I love it when
AFTERBUZZ
people
TV.
listen to me, and I'm like, predictions. They're listening.
Okay, well, my prediction, I'm hoping, I don't even necessarily know that this is a prediction, I'm just hoping that the whole Leslie Bursky thing starts speeding up. That's my hope and prediction. Because I think they wouldn't get rid of Mike unless they were trying to move that forward. I think fans didn't love Mike. He did a good job in his role. I thought he was great, but I think fans were kind of like, can we just get back to what we like?
Yeah.
So I think that's where they're going next.
Absolutely. I agree. Let's see. I think that there's going to be some Bursky stuff, but we're going to see some struggles. I'm not sure because it's too easy. In a way, I don't really want to see Bursky and Leslie together yet.
Yeah. I don't necessarily want them to be a couple. I just want them to get back to their flirting. I think that's kind of what we're coming to.
I miss the flirting.
The flirting will return.
I'm just excited for more guests and more surprises that they have because in addition to it being a fun show, it's also a live show, which people want to get involved in, all over the industry. People want to be on this show.
Well, people are getting excited about this show. It took some time, but I think that people in the industry and just regular people are starting to be like, oh wait, what's that show? What's that show? Because initially, even my friend who doesn't watch any TV, I would tell her I come here and I do this, and she's like, oh, that's great. And then she was like, wait, so the show's live? And I explained to her the concept, and she was like, wait, really? How come I'm not watching this? And she doesn't watch any TV. And the concept in itself, more people are starting to hear about it and be like, wait, this is new. This is cool. I've got to be someone that's sitting at home and a part of this. People want to be a part of it because it's so new and it's so different.
Yeah, and it's weird. And I feel like all of us are a part of it. And I know that sounds lame, but I love this show because we all feel like a part of it. And I think that's what is really brilliant about it.
That's definitely, I'm predicting that they will continue to make us feel a part of the show in more ways than they've already done. They're going to top themselves somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys can join them and us because we kind of know them a little bit. We're best friends. Like, you know, we have brunch every Sunday, all of us together.
This is 100% true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you see Fiona's face, it is like not looking like it's true. But really, though, you know, like they look at our after show and all the comments and everything. So if you guys want to, you know, tweet at people on the show and tweet at us, like they read it. Honest to God, they really do, and they read your comments and all of your feedback, and so do we. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing. So continue to watch us, continue to do that. Fiona, where can everyone find you on the interweb?
You can find me on the interweb at Fiona Zaring. Pretty easy.
And guys, you can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram, and online at SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. And please don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the works. We will all see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.